Hi there, so here's the part 2 of my studio tour. The studio is broken down into 5 zones, and I've previously shown the chill zone, the brainstorming zone, the computing zone, and the production zone. Now onto the last zone, the wall of everything. This is my view. It's a bit grim because it's the winter, but it's okay. You just have to fill it up with something else in your mind, and then it's all good. Just switching the view. And what I really like about this view is that sometimes there's a little fatty orange cat hanging around, and it still hasn't noticed that I'm behind the window, so I guess I'm creeping on him in a way, but it's just like really cute, and it's very well fed, so even if it's a stray, I think it's okay. It's having a good life. So then we get the wall of everything. So by that I mean it's all of the materials, it's the micro library, it's the archives over there. It's a lot. So let's start with the bottom part, right? So we've got like everything that is related to sewing here. This is a box of small trinkets that are all connected to some memories. I wanted to do a project with them, but let's see if that's happening or not. This is the box of fabric. Here, this area, it's just the painting / drawing area. And then on the wall here, as you can see, there is yet another test print for a series called 44. 44, that's basically maybe the first proper body of works I made, and there's a very specific signification to the number 44. I'll get to that in another video dedicated to this series, but when it comes to the technique, it's paper cutouts, and behind the paper there is traditional Japanese fabric, like the fabric you would use for yukatas and kimonos. Some more of the little cards I produce for the shop where I sell my stuff. So as I explained in a little short video, if you buy one of my pieces in the shop, it will come with a card that explains to which series it belongs, which pricing category it belongs, and then the bigger mother project to it with a QR code, and then you can scan it and access my webpage where there is the explanation of the mother project. And then always states the city where you've like purchased the piece and then the year. And then this is my other cosmic graphic piece, still turning pretty well. I really love it. There is this huge storage area. This one is kind of exciting because you have all of my smell production components here. So I work with scents, I work with what is called olfactory art, so art that involves smells in one way or another, or scents if you want. So this is basically a bunch of interesting materials. I'll spend maybe a little bit more time on this. So this is a scientific weighter instrument. So it's like very, very, very precise. This is a very cool object. This is the first perfume I've ever made. I basically made it in Beppu in Japan. There is a perfume museum over there, and I went there when I was studying in Japan, and I was kind of disconnected from smells and perfumes for a while back then, even though I was really interested in it when I was a child, because I visited perfume production facilities in Grasse, which is like one of the biggest perfume natural materials production area. A couple of years afterwards, at 18, I wrote this manuscript called Reflection, and the main character in it is a nose, so it's a perfume or smells maker. And then I arrived to Japan. I went to that perfume museum just to like connect again a bit with that character I had created, and then there was a possibility to create your own perfume. I had this workshop where I could combine a few pre-made scents basically. It's very dissonant, it's very... it smells a bit like vanilla and lavender. Like it has a soapy medicinal side, but in a very sweet vanilla ambery side as well. And it's very not cohesive. Well, then we've got this big bottle that's like perfumer's alcohol. All of these tiny bottles are like experiments. For example, this is strawberry diluted at 20%. Yeah, just a bunch of little bottles. And then there's also this plastic box that I fill with all the raw materials, and they're supposed to be protected from the light, but it's okay, it's very dark in the winter in here anyways. And these I keep in this hermetic box because they smell, like the smell just like evaporates slowly. Then they end up contaminating the studio, and then I feel like I'm having a headache every other day, and it's just really unhealthy. So I've been trying to tame these molecules, but let's see if I can find a better solution. So this basically, it's kind of cool. I received it as a gift from the person who knows me best, aka my twin. So this is basically sort of pre-made accords that are very beautifully made by a company called Gallimard, and then it's like a mini perfumer organs, and then you have your ethanol or perfumed alcohol here, and you get little blotters as well. Basically all of these are like bangers. Like you have cassis, tomato, green tea, lemon zest, bergamot, I don't know, pomegranate flowers or something like that, bamboo, lavender, fig. The fig is absolutely beautiful. Then you also have jasmine and rose, lilac, a gourmand note, tonka, musk, cedar, and amber. I've made some okay tests with this, but then I found out that the best way I've used it was to take some of these accords and mix it to my own compositions with the other raw materials. So, for example, I've created a pretty successful lychee note by blending the rose accord from Gallimard with like a fruity accord I've made myself. This is called the Historical Scent Collection, and it's by IFF. This is more like an art piece actually, or a collector piece. It's a collection of smells from kind of medieval Amsterdam. Like it's photorealistic smells. Not a pleasant bunch of smells, but it comes with a very beautiful catalog, and it was produced for a symposium I attended, which was all about factory research for an EU project. Anyway, so all of that's archive material. So this is where I stuck my old art. Some old phone cases, some dress I painted, through dealer materials, some posters, and then just some paper. So this is my paper box where I store interesting papers. So for example, this one is filled with traditional Japanese paper, painting notebook, some failed cards for the shop. Then there is the small library. If you watch some of my short videos, you might have seen some art books recommendations that I made. So don't hesitate and go ahead and check it out. It's quite interesting, I believe. It's a very small library, but the curation is excellent. First off, a tarot card set from Martinique and some playing cards from Taiwan, which are all about food. Like, pretty cool. These are all the books. It's also my tea stash. Very cheap but quality tea, we don't like that. Then some other companions, which are field experiments. So yeah, this brick of resin contains a lot of memories. Like these are like some analog pictures from my dad. This is a piece of calendar in my childhood. Then there's like this little plushie given by my grandma, my first attempt at laser cutting a character of mine called Copy. There's also this keychains from a Korean artist, and then some tiny notebook that my dad made for me when I was a child for some dolls I used to play with. First attempt at 3D printing money, which is one of my characters, by the way. Oh, here you can see it quite well. It's a fake analog picture, but it's really beautiful. It's also yellow. Then there are quite a few companions here. So this piece, I really like it. It was a material test, but I'm going to definitely explore this technique again. So this piece is basically a drawing on fabric, and then I have folded the fabric and then covered it in resin, and then it kept its shape. And then I also sprinkled it with like some little beads. And you can't really see it that well on camera, but there's a character in here that is jumping ropes with a cord made of tears. Also looks a bit like chewing gum. This is a beautiful card. I can't remember where it comes from. This is like a card from a booze shop, I guess, like a shop that sells alcohol here in Copenhagen, and it says "Give up." So I just thought it was hilarious and quite a statement to put that in an art studio. But hey, we're funny on this channel. This is just some little ladies I've been painting and that have accompanied me in the first apartment I rented in Copenhagen. So here is another shelf of companions. So really quick, we have angry little creature made of clay, super brittle. Got used to make this series. This is a little money character with itself on the back. And there is this little failure. I thought that was so cool. So it's like a glass blowing and ceramic studio called Studio Ahoy. It's like a Danish studio, and basically once a year they sell their failures, which is pretty amazing. This one is chipped on the head, and so you have like this super huge like rows of these little creatures, and they're all imperfect and waiting to be adopted because they're ugly. And yeah, I couldn't resist. I adopted 2 of them, and it's standing on top part of a tea box. Then there is this little lady, which was originally an incense holder, I created. I just created her on a whim. It's like mixed media. I really like her. I just directly colored the clay here with a marker. It was really therapeutic to do that. Then this is an old toy from Panama. Then there's this little empress character. I've showed in a short how I made her. She's double-sided, double-faced. By the way, today maybe I would like to see her other face. A gift from my sister, but this little Chinese dragon. It's also handmade, by the way. Like, it looks so pristine, it's crazy. And then this very, very fragile teacup, which was handmade in Taiwan from a little craftsman, and they are like so delicate and they have a signature. And it's just the most beautiful hand-painted teapot ever. Now you've got a pretty good overview of the local geography. Maybe I'll do other tours in the future as the studio evolves, so stay tuned. Okay, bye!